Understanding zero conditionals. The basics. Conditional sentences help us talk about situations. These sentences often have two distinct parts. There is a condition, and there is a result. Zero conditionals are a special type of conditional. They are used to talk about things. These things are always true and factual. They represent facts that do not change. This is a very important point to remember. The phrase always true means it happens every time. Think about science or general common knowledge. For example, the sun always rises in the east. This is a well-known geographical fact. Zero conditionals are used to describe such facts. They clearly state what happens with certainty. The outcome described is always definite. It is not a guess, it is a known result. There are several different types of conditional sentences. However, zero conditionals are often the simplest. They are fundamentally about certainty and facts. Other conditionals might discuss possibilities, or they might describe imaginary future situations, but zero conditionals are strictly for real facts. They are not used for making any guesses. They state what is, not what might be. So these particular sentences show a direct link. If one specific thing happens, then another thing always follows. It is a clear cause and effect relationship. The condition inevitably leads to a specific result. This result is completely predictable every time. It is always the same outcome without variation. This consistency is key to zero conditionals. Understanding this helps in using them correctly. Building zero conditionals. The simple structure. Zero conditional sentences have a very clear structure. This structure is quite easy to learn and use. The typical structure is if plus present simple, present simple. The if part of the sentence introduces the condition. The other part of the sentence states the result. Both parts of the sentence use the present simple tense. This tense consistency is a defining feature. It makes them straightforward to construct. The present simple tense plays a key role here. We use the present simple tense for facts. We also regularly use it to describe habits, and it is used for things that happen regularly. This tense therefore fits zero conditionals perfectly well. This is because zero conditionals talk about facts, and they also describe regular, predictable occurrences. The choice of tense reinforces their meaning. You can often use the word when instead of if. When you do this, the meaning stays the same. For example, if it rains, the ground gets wet, or you can say, when it rains, the ground gets wet. Both of these sentences mean exactly the same thing. The word when also shows this idea of certainty. It implies that the action occurs every time. This flexibility is useful for variety in speaking. Pay careful attention to the correct punctuation. A comma is very important in these sentences. If the if clause, which is the condition, comes first, use a comma. For example, if you heat ice, it melts. However, if the result clause comes before the condition, no comma is needed. For example, ice melts if you heat it. Knowing this rule helps you write correctly. It ensures your sentences are clear. When to use zero conditionals, truths, and habits. We commonly use zero conditionals for general truths. These are statements that everyone knows are true. They are accepted facts about the world around us. Scientific facts are very common examples of this. Think about what always happens without exception. This type of statement is a general truth. It does not change with the passage of time. Its validity is constant and universal. For example, water boils at 100 degrees Celsius. This is a well-established scientific fact, so we can correctly say, using a zero conditional, if you heat water to 100 degrees, it boils. Another clear example is, plants die if they don't get water. This is also a general truth about plant biology. These sentences describe absolute certainties in the natural world. They are not opinions, but observable realities. Zero conditionals are also excellent for describing habitual actions. These are things that people do on a regular basis, or they are things that happen as part of a routine. A zero conditional can describe a normal reaction, or it can describe a common, repeated behavior. Think about your own daily life and routines. Many of your actions are probably habits. These can often be expressed with zero conditionals. For instance, if I am tired, I go to bed early. This sentence clearly describes my usual personal habit. Or perhaps you might say, when my dog is hungry, it barks. This describes a regular, predictable behavior of the dog. These types of sentences show a consistent pattern of action. They indicate a consistent response to a particular situation. This makes them useful for explaining routines. They show how things usually happen. Crafting your own examples and helpful tips. Remember the core idea of zero conditionals always. There is a condition, and there is a certain result. This simple understanding helps you make your own sentences. Let's look at a few more diverse examples now. If you press the power button, the machine turns on. This shows a direct and immediate certain result. Or, when babies are hungry, they usually cry. This is a very common observation of behavior. Here is a practical and useful tip for you. Start by thinking of a fact you know, or think of a regular habit that you have. Then think carefully about the specific condition. What is it that makes this fact or habit happen? This approach can make forming the sentence much easier. It helps you to structure your thought process. This is always a very good starting point for practice. Practice is always very important for learning grammar. You should try to make your own sentences often. Use zero conditionals to talk about your daily life, or use them for things you know are undoubtedly true. Observe the world that is all around you. For example, if I don't set an alarm, I wake up late. Simple, everyday observations work very well for this. The more you practice, the easier it becomes. In summary, zero conditionals are quite simple to understand. They are used to talk about facts and also habits. They use the basic structure, if plus present simple, present simple. The result in these sentences is always certain. They are very useful indeed in everyday English communication. Use them correctly to talk about true things. You will find them easy to use with a little practice. They are a fundamental part of English grammar.